Hello everyone and welcome to the channel. So in today's video we will be talking about the match between Barcelona and Girona that did end 3-1. And so right off the top, this was a very exciting match. There's a lot of things that did happen within this game and we are going to be talking about it right now. And just like in all of my post-match reviews, I'm going to separate this into three parts. I'm going to be talking about the first half, then I'm going to be talking about the second half, and then lastly I'm going to give my overall feeling of this whole game. And let me tell you, there is a lot of positives to talk about from today's game. And so we are first going to start with the first half, and we are going to be talking about the lineup first, because what I believe we did see here was something that was very unexpected. If we look at the lineup here, I want you guys to notice three players, which is Coutinho, Messi, and Griezmann. If we look at these three players and we actually know how they do play, these three players here do occupy the same space. Do they play in the same position? They don't, but they do occupy the same space. And so heading into this game, when we did see the lineup, we were asking, how are these three players going to fit in the starting 11? And so immediately in the first half, when they did start, we immediately saw Koeman's decision, and that was to put Lionel Messi as the number 9. So Messi was the striker, and because Messi was playing as the striker, that allowed Trincao to play the right wing position and play wide, which then would allow Griezmann to play in the center between Coutinho and Francisco Trincao and just roam around free and create for his teammates. And because Griezmann was so free and he was allowed to make any decision he wanted, like he did with Atletico Madrid, he would also give Coutinho the space to act like an attacking midfielder. And so there was a ripple effect. They all benefited from each other, and that was a great thing to see. And let me tell you, it worked. It completely worked. I believe that every player did play how they do want to play. We saw Coutinho create for his teammates. We saw Griezmann play on the right wing, left wing, in the center. We saw Trincao hug the touch line, and we saw Messi up top just waiting for his teammates to bring the ball to the opposition's box. And what a way for Koeman to really establish his first two games with FC Barcelona, because Koeman did really stick with his word. Because in the beginning, about 2 or 3 weeks ago, he was explaining how he was not a big fan of using these players and placing them in the wrong position. He wants to put these players in their best role, in their best natural position, and we saw exactly that, and it did work. And it was so refreshing to see a very different Barcelona, a Barcelona where we did have Griezmann play behind Lionel Messi, a Barcelona where we did see Coutinho finally play in his natural position. And that is how I would basically sum up the first half, was that we finally saw players like Messi, Coutinho, and Griezmann benefit from one another. And so here's the thing, right? I do want to talk about two players that really did stood out in this first half. I'm going to go more individual now, and I want to talk about Francisco Trincao, because one of the key partnerships that we did see in the first half was between Lionel Messi and Trincao. This was a partnership where it was unexpected, because you would assume that Messi and Trincao would never play with each other, because Messi and Trincao do play in the same position. But because Messi was playing as a striker and Trincao was playing as a right winger, we saw them understand each other. There was many times in the first half where Messi did have the ball, and then we did see Trincao make those runs into those open spaces. He was hugging the touchline, and Trincao knew where to run, he knew where to go, and Messi knew exactly where he was at. And you would expect Messi to work with Coutinho or maybe Griezmann and De Jong, but that was not the case. Out of all the players, Messi clicked extremely well with Trincao. And because of Trincao's high work ethic, yes, he was running into space, but from a defensive point of view, Trincao pressured extremely well. So as soon as we did lose the ball, Trincao immediately ran back into his own half and tried to get the ball as fast as possible. And I love to see that, because you get that feeling that Trincao wants to come into Barcelona and start. He wants to come into Barcelona and play well. He wants to do everything required in order for him to start with FC Barcelona. And so that is a great thing to see. It's great to see that Trincao does want to make and improve Barcelona, but not only that, he's also putting pressure on one player, and that is Dembele. And I know for a fact Dembele is looking at this and saying, Trincao is actually playing extremely well. There might be a chance that he might take some of my minutes. I may need to step my game up, and I love to see that. I love to see that competitive spirit within this Barcelona team. And so don't be surprised that throughout the season we are going to see Trincao and Dembele fight for that spot on that right wing area. But later throughout this season, I also do want to see more of this Messi and Trincao partnership, because what I believe what we did see here was very impressive, because Messi and Trincao only trained for 2 weeks together. This is something extremely new. They did not know each other 3 weeks ago, which means that it is only now up to them to perfect this partnership. And I do want to talk about one more player that I certainly do not want to leave out, and that is Araujo. Araujo today was excellent. He was world class. He did put out a great performance, and one of the greatest traits that did stood out from this defender was his recoveries. There was many times where De Jong and Busquets and maybe even sometimes Sergio Roberto did lose the ball in our own half, but Araujo was there at the right time in the right position to recover that ball extremely fast. And seeing the type of display that Araujo did put out, that is only going to cause trouble to players like Todibo and Lenglet. And again, this is not a bad thing. We want this type of competitive spirit within this Barcelona team. I believe that everyone is going to be fighting for a spot in the upcoming season. So it was great to see that Araujo is actually a gem for FC Barcelona, and I would actually have a debate that Araujo should be named as man of the match for today's game, because what he did here was absolutely excellent. And so overall, in this first half, we did end with 2 goals. One goal came from an excellent combination between Griezmann, Messi, Trincao, and Felipe Coutinho, and the second goal came from Lionel Messi himself, who did score a wonder goal from outside the box with his right foot. And here's one thing to really take note, right? I really want you guys to pay attention to this. Seeing this starting 11 with these group of players, I really do believe that these players benefited from one another. They did not take away from one another, and that already tells you so much of what we could expect for the upcoming season, because in the previous season we did see many players sacrifice their role in order for another player to benefit. In this squad, in this starting 11, nobody took away anything from one another, and that is great to see. I think that Koeman does understand how he should work with these players. He understands that he does have quality within his squad, which only means one thing, which is to put them in the right position. And so moving on to the second half, we did start with the same starting 11. Nothing was changed in those 17 minutes. We did end up with a 3-1 scoreline, with Messi scoring his second goal of today's game. And then immediately after those 17 minutes, we did see substitutions, which ended up being a completely different starting 11. And I believe that what Koeman is doing here is that he does want to ease into this starting 11. So like for example, in the previous match, we did see 2 completely different starting 11s, but in this match, we started to see 17 minutes within the second half where he did change the whole squad. And I assume that by the time we do get into that third match at the Camp Nou, we are going to see the starting 11 play at least 70 minutes together. And so unfortunately, with this squad, we were unable to capitalize. After the 55th minute, it did stay with a 3-1 scoreline, but that does not mean that it was not a great performance. We did see many players who did stood out. For example, players like PEDRI and Riqui Puig. PEDRI did have 2 chances where he could have scored, but unfortunately, he did not capitalize off of that. But I do expect PEDRI to get his goal sometime sooner rather than later. And as for Riqui Puig, we already know what he does. He does like to pick his passes. He was doing extremely well at what he does best. Most importantly, I'm starting to see that Riqui Puig does want to take more responsibility. So for example, we did see many times on the field where Riqui Puig did receive the ball and place those balls in the safe areas, something that we have seen Busquets do throughout the years. And it's going to be very interesting to see how Riqui Puig does compete with the squad that did play in the first half, because I believe that that first half performance with those specific group of players was almost immovable. And so now I want to move on to the last part, which was my overall feeling of this match. And to be honest, I think that if we were to combine these 2 halves, unlike the previous match, I think that both halves really did bring a lot of value for Koeman's start at Barcelona. It was a great performance overall. I believe that yes, the first half was much better, but that does not mean that the second half was a poor performance. And so I'm happy to see this. And now I want to lean towards the 3 things that we have learned in this match. Number 1, Coutinho, Messi, Griezmann does work in a starting 11. If we continue to use the 4-2-3-1 formation, these 3 players can work together. The second point that we have learned, I believe that Koeman's goal right now is that he does want to see what youngsters does he currently have in his hand that will be able to perform in this upcoming season. And as of now, those 3 players could be Trincao, Riqui Puig, and Araujo. Moving on to the third thing that we have learned, and that is the defensive line. I believe that the center back positions are very well equipped. We do have great center backs at the moment, especially with how we did see Araujo play in tonight's match. I believe that with Todibo, Araujo, Lenglet, and Piquet, that can get the job done. But there needs to be more work on the fullback position. I do believe that Barcelona need to really look and analyze this game and look for alternatives when it comes to the fullbacks. And funny enough, we do have a report coming from Cat Radio, and they have stated Barcelona want to sign Serginho Dest, and the right back could join even if Semedo does stay. And that is a great thing to hear. Do I want to see Semedo leave Barcelona? No, I don't. But I think that Serginho Dest should come into this club, strengthen our right back position, and have Semedo compete for his spot. It's almost the exact same thing between Trincao and Dembele, Araujo, and Todibo. We need these players to know that their spot will not be secured if you continue to play in that way. And so hopefully these negotiations and these reports between Dest and Barcelona do continue to advance, and hopefully we do end up strengthening our back line. So that'll be it for today's Barcelona post-match review. Again, there was a lot of highlights in this match. Let me know what really did stood out to you in today's game. Who were the players that you liked the most? And now seeing these two matches, what do you think Koeman's starting 11 is going to be by the start of La Liga season? I want to thank you guys so much for watching. Please like, subscribe, comment. If you guys are new here, welcome to the channel. Feel free to DM me on Instagram. You can message me on Twitter. And keep in mind, if you guys do want to join the Flick group chat where we do talk about football, just ask me on Instagram or Twitter. I will give you the passcode and then we can talk about football from there. So thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you guys in the next video.